Picture a massive office building. Authentication is basically the security guard checking your ID at the front desk, verifying exactly who you are before you even step foot inside. But authorization, well, that's your encoded key card, determining exactly which specific floors and secure rooms you're actually allowed to visit once you're in the lobby.
Let's dive right into access and permissions basics, governing exactly what users can do.
Okay, so we've verified the user's identity at the front desk, right? But now we have to answer a totally different, absolutely crucial question. What are they actually allowed to do? We have authentication, which is simply checking the ID, and then we have authorization, which acts as that room key. Once an identity is verified, authorization governs what tools, services, and data users are permitted to access within Microsoft 365. The ultimate goal of effective authorization is something called the principle of least privilege. This means ensuring that users have access to exactly what they need to do their job, and absolutely nothing more and nothing less.
Now, permissions in Microsoft 365 use a really flexible, layered architecture. As you prepare for your AB 900 exam, understanding this flow is critical. You start with the user interacting with a service which is managed by admin control, ultimately leading to a specific result. Administrators really have to grasp this layered approach, starting from broad tenant-wide roles, moving down to resource-specific permissions, and incorporating context-aware controls. This layered logic is exactly what allows administrators to effectively and safely secure complex AI and Copilot environments.
Moving on to authorization in Microsoft 365, focusing on enforcing least privilege. Think of an incredibly busy restaurant. The head chef has full, unrestricted access to the entire kitchen and all the ingredients, right? But a regular patron, they're only assigned to sit at one specific table. Translating that restaurant analogy to technical reality brings us to Role-Based Access Control, or RBAC. Microsoft 365 uses RBAC built directly into Microsoft Entra ID as its central mechanism for authorization. This is where users are assigned to roles that grant specific administrative or functional rights. For example, the global administrator role is exactly like that head chef. They have full control over all Microsoft 365 settings and services, but you definitely wouldn't give everyone that kind of power. Instead, you use service-specific roles, assigning an Exchange administrator to manage emails or a Teams administrator to handle communications. Each role has a rigidly defined scope.
For non-administrators, most access is handled through group permissions. Notice this simple input, process, output flow. Instead of assigning a global role, you grant resource-specific access controls. Adding a user to a group is the input. The system processes that membership, and the output is the independent ability to read, edit, or manage shared items, like a specific SharePoint document library or a planner board. This grants access to the exact resources they need, completely independent of any administrative role in the tenant.
Let's walk through a highly relevant scenario you might actually see on the AB 900 exam to see how this works in practice. Consider a user named Sarah. She gets added to the marketing team group as a member. This automatically gives her edit access to her team's SharePoint site and shared calendar. But later, she's temporarily added to an event planning SharePoint site as a visitor. Because her role there is just a visitor, she only has read-only access. She can view documents, sure, but she cannot edit or upload new content. So the absolute crucial point here is that scope matters incredibly. A single user's permissions change dynamically depending on the specific resource they are interacting with.
Next up, let's explore advanced authorization scenarios, moving beyond a simple allow or deny.
Think about modern airport security. It doesn't just check your ticket at the front door. It dynamically scans your bags, assesses your behavior, and checks your origin location before finally letting you board the plane. That dynamic airport security is exactly what conditional access does in Microsoft 365. This is, hands down, one of the most powerful authorization tools at your disposal. Conditional access dynamically applies access rules based on specific real-time factors. It looks at sign-in risk, device compliance, the user's physical location, or the sensitivity of the app being accessed. For instance, you could configure a conditional access policy that strictly requires multi-factor authentication, or MFA, whenever a user tries to access financial data from a personal unmanaged device.
Another advanced layer you absolutely need to know is Privileged Identity Management, or PIM for short. Looking at our admin control flow again, PIM provides just-in-time, temporary administrative roles. Instead of having an admin hold powerful privileges permanently 24/7, an IT admin requests elevated access only when they need to perform a specific task. Once the approved time window ends, the system automatically revokes that access. For anyone taking the AB 900 exam, understanding how PIM reduces the risk of credential misuse is absolutely essential.
We also need to contrast two other advanced features. First, we have access packages. These are fantastic for entitlement management, allowing organizations to bundle permissions across multiple apps and sites with built-in approval workflows, perfect for quickly onboarding a new employee. Then we have sensitivity labels. While an access package grants entry, a sensitivity label integrates with authorization right at the content level. The label actually follows the document wherever it goes, restricting actions like unauthorized printing, copying, or forwarding, even after the user has been granted initial access.
All right, let's switch gears to our users and groups overview, taking a look at these core security objects.
Imagine a massive music festival. Users are the individual concert goers, each holding their own unique ticket, while groups represent entire VIP sections that security can manage as a single block, rather than checking individual tickets one by one. Translating this to the Microsoft Entra ID reality, users and groups are your core security objects. A user represents an individual identity. They have unique credentials, licenses, and a user principal name, or UPN. But managing thousands of individual users one by one, that's impossible. That's where groups come in. By processing inputs through groups, admins achieve the scalable access model needed for efficient AB 900 administration. You assign users to groups, and you grant permissions to the group itself.
So what about the types of Microsoft groups? It's all about choosing the right container. Groups are kind of like vehicles in a corporate fleet. A security group is your sleek sports car, designed for one specific, fast task. The technical meaning here is critical. Security groups solely control access to resources. You use them to assign permissions to SharePoint sites, Teams channels, or conditional access policies. The key word here is only. Security groups do not create shared collaborative tools. If you create a finance read-only security group, it grants access, but it definitely does not generate a shared mailbox or calendar for those users.
Now, the moving truck designed for heavy collaboration is the Microsoft 365 group. When you create one of these, the system automatically provisions a whole suite of shared resources under a single group identity. The output of creating an M365 group includes a shared Outlook mailbox, a group calendar, a SharePoint document library, a planner board, and an optional connected Microsoft Teams workspace. When a user is added, they instantly get access to all of those interconnected collaborative tools at once. It's a real game changer for team productivity.
Let's compare two highly specialized groups. First, mail-enabled security groups. Think of these as hybrids. They combine the access control permissions of a regular security group with the mass email capabilities of a distribution list. You can grant them access to a budget site and email them monthly updates at the same time. Then we have standard distribution groups. These are our passenger buses. They are designed purely for sending mass emails, like company announcements from HR. They cannot be used to assign security permissions to Microsoft 365 resources whatsoever.
And this brings us to a really cool feature, dynamic groups, highlighting the AB 900 relevance here. Dynamic groups are populated automatically by reading user attributes stored right in Entra ID. You set up rules, for example, department equals sales. As soon as HR updates a user's profile to say they are in sales, Entra ID automatically adds them to the group. When they change departments, they're automatically removed. It requires zero manual admin intervention, making it incredibly powerful for large organizations where roles frequently change.
Let's get into administering users and groups, looking at the tools and best practices.
Think of an expert mechanic. They use a standard wrench for daily tune-ups, but rely on specialized diagnostic machines for a full fleet overhaul. Your administrative toolkit in Microsoft 365 operates the exact same way. The Microsoft 365 Admin Center is your daily wrench, a simple web-based interface, perfect for basic tasks like resetting a password or adding a user to a group. The Microsoft Entra Admin Center is for more complex identity management, like configuring those dynamic group rules or conditional access policies. Finally, for true enterprise-scale automation, you use PowerShell and the Microsoft Graph API to make massive changes instantly.
To truly achieve scalable management, you integrate tools like the Graph API with your company's HR databases. This creates a fully automated input-to-output flow. When a new employee is entered into the HR system, Graph API can automatically update project teams and adjust tool access in Microsoft 365. When that employee leaves, their access is instantly and automatically revoked. This eliminates the massive security risk of lingering permissions and manual human error.
Which brings us to the core AB 900 best practices. Organizations must carefully align their group strategies to actual business roles to maintain a clean, zero-trust access model. Use departmental groups like Finance Team for sensitive apps. Use project-based groups like Q1 Launch for temporary cross-functional collaboration. And rely heavily on dynamic groups to ensure real-time alignment with user attributes.
I want to leave you with this final provocative thought as you gear up for your exam. Is your access model truly scalable without manual intervention? If an administrator is still manually adding and removing individual users to ensure security, the environment is neither scalable nor truly secure. Mastering automated, group-based permissions, layered with conditional access, is the absolute key to succeeding in Microsoft 365 and Copilot administration.